In this video, we're going to talk about nitrogenous waste products. So as we talk about osmoregulation and different excretory systems that organisms have, we also have to talk about nitrogenous waste products. One of the functions of these excretory systems is to maintain that isotonicity between the cells and their extracellular environment. But the other thing that needs to happen is these excretory systems help to get rid of these nitrogenous waste products. If these waste products are not removed from the body, first of all, it can affect osmoregulation and tonicity. They can also become toxic, which could kill the organism. So when we refer to nitrogenous waste products, so nitrogenous just means that they contain nitrogen. And if you recall, there are kind of 4 groups of macromolecules, and 2 of those groups have nitrogen in their molecules. And so proteins and nucleic acids, they have carbon and hydrogen and oxygen, but they also have nitrogen. So when you eat food, or when an organism eats food, those proteins and nucleic acids get broken down. And remember, catabolism is just the metabolic reaction involved in breaking molecules down. Now, the carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen atoms can be stored or kind of converted into the form of carbohydrates and fats. But nitrogen, some of it is used in the body, but most of it needs to be excreted from the body because nitrogen, this kind of excess nitrogen, forms something called ammonia. And ammonia is just NH4. You can see the nitrogen right there. And ammonia, as I mentioned, is toxic. It actually raises the pH. And so by raising the pH, it makes the body fluids more basic or alkaline. And pH is one of those parameters that needs to be kept in homeostasis because if the body fluids become too acidic or too basic, it can disrupt chemical bonding and affect the activity of enzymes. Now, in aquatic animals, most of them can just release the ammonia straight into the water. Terrestrial animals, however, convert that ammonia to a still toxic but less toxic nitrogenous molecule known as urea or uric acid. So urea is more common in mammals, and uric acid is more common in reptiles and terrestrial invertebrates, although mammals can also make uric acid. So first, let's talk a little bit more about urea. And so mammals convert ammonia to urea in this process known as the urea cycle. Now, you do not have to memorize this diagram here. So this is just showing you the chemical reactions involved in this urea cycle. And you can see the urea right here in the cycle, and the ammonia, which is very tiny up here. This is the NH3, NH4. This urea cycle occurs in the liver, and then the urea gets excreted in the urine. Now, this conversion process requires different enzymes, energy, and then part of it also occurs in the mitochondria. So there has to be mitochondria present in the cells in order for them to convert the ammonia to urea. Interestingly, there's a blood test known as the BUN, or the blood urea nitrogen test. And this is a blood test that can be used as an indicator of kidney function. And so if the kidneys are not working properly and they're not excreting enough of the urea, then there might be a buildup of urea in the bloodstream, which is an indication that there might be a problem with the kidneys. Now, birds, reptiles, and terrestrial arthropods, so that includes things like our insects, they convert ammonia to a different substance known as uric acid, or something called guano, which is closely related to uric acid. Now, the conversion of ammonia into uric acid is more complex than the conversion to urea, and it requires more energy to occur. Mammals do produce some uric acid, especially associated with nucleic acid catabolism, so the breakdown of nucleic acids. If there's too much uric acid in the system, it can lead to problems such as kidney stones or gout. And gout is a condition, you can see it on this foot here, in which uric acid crystals get trapped in joints. Gout usually affects the big toe first, and that's because the big toe it has very small capillaries in it, and it is the farthest point away from the heart and circulation. And so those uric acid crystals typically get transported to the toe and then they get trapped there. And when they get trapped there, it causes inflammation and pain. You can see that this foot on the left is swollen, and the pain can be really severe and uncomfortable.